It's a very unseasonal make for June. I'm gonna go with they're so comfy you can take a nap in them. But I showed like my husband and my friends and they were a bit like, okay. They think I'm gonna look like a walking pair of curtains. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. I am a knitter, a sewist, a gardener, and this is my channel where I share everything about living a handmade, homegrown and slow life. Okay, so today's video is one of my bi-monthly, is that right? No, like every other month. I don't think there's a word for that, but basically every other month I do a like roundup of my makes. I don't really make enough to be able to do it every single month, so I don't make a video every single month, but every other month I do this sort of roundup of everything that I've been sewing and knitting, and sometimes there's a few other crafts in there like crochet and bits and bobs, but today it is just knitting and sewing. So yeah, hopefully this will give you guys some great inspiration for your own making. Hopefully this will sort of show you guys like some of the patterns that maybe you're interested in making, and some of the like yarns or fabrics you're interested in using, sort of like how they look and how they are made up. Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in there and start with sewing first. So this month I have managed to do a little bit of sewing. Well, the last 2 months, sorry, I've managed to do a bit of sewing. You guys know if you've been watching my channel that my sewing has really gone like downhill this year because I've had a lot of issues with my chest, so sitting at my sewing machine has been quite difficult for me, but I'm starting to get a bit better and I'm starting to manage a little bit more. I'm sort of sewing like 1 garment a month at the moment, and I'm hoping to maybe get that up to like 1.5, 2 garments a month because I've got quite a few things that I want to get through this summer. But the first thing that I made actually in May was a pair of cushions. So for a really long time now I've had all of the fabric left over from the William Morris blinds that I made in my bedroom, just sort of sitting around waiting to be made up into a couple of cushions. I was just going to make some super simple envelope cushions. I followed a tutorial below. I cannot remember for the life of me. It's Lizzie. I can't remember the name of her channel. She doesn't really post on there anymore, but I will leave the tutorial in the description bar below for you guys in case you want to have a go at this. It was so easy. There's no fastenings, there's no zips, it's just an envelope opening. I had nearly enough fabric for both cushions, but one of the back pieces I didn't have quite enough, so I ended up sewing 2 pieces together, but it doesn't really matter because it's quite a patterned fabric. It's the back of the cushion which is never shown against anything, so yeah, I'm so pleased with how they came out. They look really great on the bed. Obviously I'll get some shots and stuff. We'll probably put some shots up earlier of how they're looking, but yeah, I'm so pleased with them and they were so easy, and that's really spurred me on to get on with making some more cushions for our living room, which I have knitted a couple, which I'll show you later on in this video, but I also want to sew a couple of cushions, and I've got some really nice like tweed fabric, English wool tweed fabric that I would love to use for cushions for our living room. So yeah, it's really spurred me on to have a go at actually making more cushions because they're super easy, and it's made me feel really good as well about like yeah, we're currently, this is like a whole tangent, but we're currently looking at buying a bigger home at the moment and moving house, and I know that I'm gonna have like more rooms, like some spare bedrooms and another sofa and things like that, so I'm like, great, I'm gonna be able to run up loads of these envelope cushions now that I know how to do it. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how these 2 came out. Okay, my next dress was a very exciting make. I actually made an entire video on this, which again I will link in the description below for you, but the team over at Tilly and the Buttons very kindly sent me a copy of their brand new pattern, which is the Nell Dress. It is a lovely button-up v-neck, like oversized summer dress, just perfect for throwing on and just sort of skipping off into the sunshine. It has lots of different options to like change it up, so you can do buttons all the way up the front, you can do poppers and then make tiny little bow ties all the way up the front, which is super cute and obviously like really big at the moment because of, I think it's the Ghani or the Ghiani blouse that everyone's gone crazy for, which is like tied up the front. You can do puffball sleeves, you can do flutter sleeves, you can do straight short sleeves, straight long sleeves, you can do a midi length or a maxi length. Like there's so many options with this dress. I opted for a maxi length dress because I quite wanted to add a few maxi dresses into my wardrobe this year. I haven't really got many. I've got one like ready to wear one, which is sort of on its last legs. And then I made one for my birthday, which is really lovely with long sleeves. Again, I made a video all about that, so I'll link that one in the description below. There's a lot of videos going to be in this description below. But yeah, I decided to make a maxi length dress and I am so pleased with how it came out. I actually made it from a pair of thrifted curtains from the charity shop here in Chipping Norton, where we live in the Cotswolds. And yeah, I'm really pleased with how it came out because I was, you know, obviously like when you buy a pair of curtains, I can often like envision how it's gonna look, but I showed like my husband and my friends and they were a bit like, okay. They think I'm going to look like a walking pair of curtains. But the amount of compliments I've had on that dress has been so lovely. Thank you so much to everybody who commented on that video, and also thank you to everybody who commented over on my Instagram and said how much they love the dress and how much it works in those curtains, in that curtain fabric, because it really does, like, it looks so pretty and I feel so good wearing it, and it's such a comfy one because, as I say, it's oversized and you can just throw it on. I don't even like undo or do up the buttons, I just throw it on and off, which I think was probably the idea. I just did the simple short sleeve because I knew I was going to do a full maxi length, so I thought it would be best just to do a simple short sleeve. But yeah, I'm so pleased with how that dress came out. I'm currently knitting a cardigan which is the perfect colour to go with it, so I'm really excited to wear those two together. At the moment it is really rather warm in the Cotswolds. It's 28 degrees today, so obviously not going to be wearing a woolly cardigan anytime soon, but I kind of thought in my head that like next year, early spring, actually that would be a really great outfit, would be this long maxi dress. I could wear some crop leggings underneath and this woolly cardigan over the top, because I often like to start dressing spring like in like March, April, but it's just so cold here that like you can't wear any of your pretty dresses. So yeah, in my head I was like, this will be a great one for next spring, but I'm hoping it'll still get a bit of wear over the summer. It is quite thick fabric, being curtain fabric, so yeah, it depends on how hot the weather is, but I am really pleased with that dress. Okay, my final sew in May and June was a nap dress, like dupe, if you want to, is that what you want to call it? So basically I've seen these Hill House nap dresses all over the internet. I think they became popular a few years ago now, and they're basically like shirred bodice dresses with all different types of sleeves, like frilly straps or long sleeves. I think the idea, I don't know if they're called nap dresses because of the Nap Valley in America, or whether they're called nap dresses because they're so comfy you can take a nap in them. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna go with they're so comfy you can take a nap in them. And I just thought that would be perfect for summer because, as they say, we get some warm weather here in the Cotswolds, currently 28 degrees. I need some really like cool comfy dresses, things that I can just throw on and walk the dog in and work from home in. And so I decided to make one of these nap dress dupes, and I found a really great tutorial on a channel that I really enjoy, which is called I think is it just Lauren Johnson, or is that her Instagram handle? It may just be called Lauren Johnson. I will link that below. It's a really easy tutorial. It's literally like 2 rectangles for the dress, and then I did some gathered tiers, so that was like obviously multiple rectangles sewn together and gathered in, and then the straps are just again 2 rectangles, and there's like a load of shirring on the bodice. I think I did 30 rows of shirring on my bodice, and then there's 4 rows on each strap, so there's quite a lot of shirring, so it does become quite monotonous. But you know, I just listened to an Agatha Christie and I just like went away with it. But I have worn it loads since I finished it. I only finished it last week, but I have worn that dress absolutely loads because it is just so comfortable. I made it in a vintage bed sheet, which I bought off Etsy for like £10. And I had quite a lot of fabric there, so I was able to do all of the lovely tiers, so that it's I've still actually got a square of it left, which I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use that for. I might line a bag with it or something because it's so pretty. But yeah, I used a vintage bed sheet to make that one. So it's been a bit of a thrifty couple of months of sewing because it's all been like thrifted stuff or things in my stash left over from making blinds or whatever. But yeah, I'm really pleased with that, with all of my sewing. Okay, now let's get on to everything that I have been knitting. So obviously as it gets hotter and hotter and hotter, people become less into knitting, which I can understand. Like at the moment it's 28 degrees. The last thing I want to do is pick up my wool alpaca cardigan and start knitting with it. But I do tend to find that if I don't knit in the summer, like I just get stressed. I know a lot of people will knit with cotton as well, and one of my makes actually is made in cotton, and that's a lovely thing to work with. So yeah, I have still been knitting quite a lot in May and June. This is like the hottest it's been actually. It's not actually been this hot really. We had a lot of rain in early June and stuff. So yeah, I have had some cozy days knitting. But anyway, let's get on to the actual makes. So my first finished make in May was the Dahlia Cardigan, which is a pattern by Le Petite, I think. Le Petite Knit or Le Petite. I'll link the pattern below. I had seen the adult version of this. I'd seen quite a lot of people make this cardigan as an adult version. And I remember thinking, oh, that's so gorgeous. I would really love to make that cardigan for myself. And then when a family friend had a baby and I wanted to make them something, I was like, actually, you know what? I might make the baby version of that. And the pattern is a bit of a bargain really, because within the pattern you actually get the pattern for the cardigan, also a sweater, also a top, and also a dress. So it's a little bit more expensive than a standard pattern, but you get all these different variations. So I think at some point I might make my niece like the dress version, and it like they go up to quite like high sizes as well. So like, yeah, I think it's a really good pattern actually. I really enjoyed it. I found it quite easy to just sit and do, and I made that in the Drops saffron yarn, which is 100% cotton yarn in a beautiful shade called Amethyst, because I wanted to do something that wasn't pink, because people tend to make pink for babies, for baby girls. So I wanted to do something a little bit interesting. So yeah, that is what I made for her. It came out really well. As I say, that cotton's so lovely and soft, and it's got a bit of a sheen to it like cotton yarns normally have. And yeah, it came out really well. So I really enjoyed making that one. Okay, my next finished make, which I think I finished this in May as well, is the Stella Cushion, which is a pattern by Laura Penrose. She is a friend of mine and she's an amazing designer. She has the most beautiful designs, and recently she's really been going into homeware designs, and I just fell in love with everything. I have a copy of the Sweet Shop blanket, but unfortunately I haven't started it yet. I think it's going to be an autumnal project for me. But she also then brought out the Stella Cushion, which I just fell in love with. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I decided to knit this one up, and I am so pleased with how this came out. I used a mix of different yarns, so I used no, not all of them, nearly all of them were British yarns, which I really love. All of the undyed yarn is actually Cotswolds yarn from my friend's sheep, from the farm literally just a couple of fields away from the house, which is really cool. So my friend Vicky, who owns Knitter's Cottage, her first batch of yarn came from some sheep just across the way, some Romney sheep. She's got her second batch of yarn coming out soon actually from her own flock, which is Cotswolds, so I can't wait to get some of that because that's even more exciting to have like pure Cotswolds wool. But this is Romney lamb's wool, and it's so great as a cushion. It looks so good, it's got such a lovely crimp to it. So yeah, I'm really pleased that I used that yarn. And then two of the colours that I used were Susan Crawford vintage yarns, which I picked up the minis at Yarndale in September because I knew I wanted to make this cushion for absolutely ages. So I had like a swatch of curtain fabric to like use to pick out colours from my curtain and blinds downstairs in the living room. And then I discovered I had 2 minis from my advent calendar that I got from Adventures in Yarn Craft. That was my advent calendar this year in December. 2 of the minis actually went really well with the curtains. So that's what made up the 4 different colours in this lovely cushion. It was such an easy pattern. It was so relaxing. Like, there's a lot of info to get your head around, but once you sort of understand it all, which for me didn't take very long, it was super easy. You just like slowly add squares and it like transforms and comes together, and it just looks so good. And I've put it on an armchair that has like a big beige throw on it in the corner of our room, and it's just really added like a pop of colour and texture and interest into the corner of the room. So I'm so pleased with how that came out. I'm actually currently working on my second one because I had some leftover yarn to use, so I'm working on another one for the sofa on the other side of the living room, and yeah, I'm sure there will be many more in my future. I can imagine like when we move house and we've got more sofas and chairs and bedrooms and things that need cushions, I'll end up knitting more because it's just such a gorgeous pattern. So I highly recommend that one. And then my final make is a very unseasonal make for June, but it is actually a pair of socks. And as I say, at the time it was really rainy and cold. It was like 16 degrees and it was really miserable. I can't quite believe that's how cold it was now. Like, it's currently, you know, 28 degrees outside, but it was really rainy and horrible and cold, and I made these woolly socks, which, to be fair, I started them back in February whilst I was at a conference with my church. I just sat knitting and listening, but I really felt like I just wanted to move on to like other things, more exciting things. So I finished one sock and then it just sat there like a lone sock for like 2 months waiting for its little partner. So eventually I got round to just finishing that sock because I can make a sock in like a couple of days. So I was just like, you know what, Rachel, just crack this out and then you've got a nice pair of woolly socks. It is quite cold, you will wear them, and then you can put them away for the autumn time. So yeah, I just made my standard pattern, which is Louisa, oh, what is her surname? I will leave the link below because I cannot remember, I'm really sorry, but it's her beginner sock pattern that I think you get when you sign up to her newsletter. It's like a free pattern that she sends out. It's a super easy, as I say, stocking net stitch sock. I am going to branch out soon because I've made so many pairs of these stocking net stitch socks and I feel like I really need to try. Like, I love cable socks and I love lace socks, and I see loads of people making these stunning socks with like picot frilly edges and things like that. I really need to like branch out when it comes to my sock making. So I'm hoping autumn winter, I'm not in the mood for socks right now, it's too hot, but autumn winter I will hopefully branch out and start working on a couple of pairs of slightly more interesting socks. Okay, so that is everything that I made in May and June. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I will have another one going up for my makes July and August at the end of August. I've got loads of wonderful things that I'm making. I've also got some really exciting videos coming up, some sew alongs. Thank you so much for all the love on my previous video about going to Goodwood Revival. I'm really excited that some of you are actually coming. Please do, if you see me, come and say hi. It'd be really great to see you there. And I'm definitely going to make some vlogs about sort of making vintage outfits over the summer. So yeah, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like because it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm. It helps more people see my videos. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Thanks very much. Bye.